Ready to Love Season 5, let the games begin, or should I say let these bad dating strategies begin, because some people came on here with some bad dating strategies. They should have looked up my tips for these before, and they would have got some dating strategies, because the girl who got kicked off this time, Kina, she definitely committed some of my cardinal sins in my last video. But you know what? We did get our changes in the rules. I did a video on that too. And, you know, I know they didn't see it or nothing like that. But you know what? I manifested it and we got some rules changes. So now instead of having 10 couples, we only have 7 couples. That means we're going to get to see more time with the real strong couples as we go along the show. So I really like that. And what they're stressing this time is quality over quantity, which I'm liking that too. So the first guy we meet is Paul. He calls himself P.O. Because he's talking about he delivers all the time. Girl, bad one-liners. He is corny. I already don't like him. But anyway, he cuts 48. He's a software analyst. He comes on here with his one-liners talking about, oh, you're so beautiful. Is that your middle name or is that your name? Girl, he's too old, 48, to come with these corny one-liners. Next we meet DAKIYA. She's 39. She's a systems engineer also. So she walks in and she meets P.O. Paul. And he's like, oh, you look beautiful in that dress, you know, and la-di-da-di-da-di-da. And you know, well, the first thing I know about DAKIYA is those cheekbones. She got some beautiful cheekbones. Next that walks in is Tiffany. She's 37. I guess she's an entrepreneur for like mobile education. She says she's from Virginia. She's a country girl. And she's like, you know, country girls know how to make a house a home. Don't a lot of ratchet music come out the South? I don't know if you Southern girls have your same reputation you used to have. I don't know. You might begin just as ratchet as the West Coast and the East Coast. But we'll go with it that y'all still making houses homes. I don't want to fit no Southern ladies, though. Next that comes in is Wiley. He's 32. He's like a football coach or something. He's like an ex-jock from Virginia Tech. He's the youngest on the show. He's only 32. He comes in, and so he basically saying he doesn't want to get, you know, classified as a jock, but I guess you are a jock. I don't know. So anyway, they're all sitting down. So you got Wiley sitting down, P.O. there. You have DAKIYA, and then you also have, what is it, Tiffany? And so they're all sitting down. And let me tell you, this is the first mistake I thought DAKIYA made. So DAKIYA, system engineer, here she come out with the stats. Paul asked a question about like, how's dating going? And she's like, oh, well, you know, we're, you know, it's 1 to 10 in this city, and we got a lot of competition and so many beautiful women. Why are you telling the men about all the competition? Who does that? Why are you lead with that, letting the men know what advantage they have? I don't know. I just think that's a bad strategy. I'm the type of person that I'm always about selling yourself, selling yourself. I'm not going to tell men who I'm trying to sell myself to about all the other competition. That's not being haterish on other women. That's like, I just don't need to point it out. I'm not for sure why she did that. And she did it a couple of times in the show. And I was like, girl, why are you giving them the stats? That's like if I'm selling my house. Just want to let you know there's a house down the street that's selling for a lot less than my house. And I know I got a lot of competition out there. That's not how I sell my house. Next up, we meet Fernando. He says he's from Baltimore. He comes in, and the first thing I notice is, ooh, this suit. You guys see my other video when I said a lot of men come with need edits. This is a man who could benefit from a wife, because that outfit that he had on needs an edit. I mean, powder blue with pink. What is that? A corsage, a little flower on it, and a tie clip, and that. Girl, he needs edits all day. He needs a wife. He needs a wife soon because he needs some edits. Next that comes in is Kina, and she comes in talking about she's the diva. Bad title. Nobody wants to date a diva. But anyway, she comes in and says she's a diva and that, you know, she wants a man that's a leader, but I want to be pulling strings from behind. Well, then he's not a leader, because then he's a puppet. If you're pulling the strings, then he's a puppet. That's not a leader. I knew it was going bad when she came in and Fernando said, hey, how are you, miss? How are you doing? He called her miss. You already in the friend zone. When a man calls you miss, you in the friend zone already. He immediately, Fernando basically signaled that I don't see you as like more like a sexual being. I see you like as a miss. That's friend zone already. And the other time I could tell she was put in the friend zone, because the other guy that was sitting there, his name was Tory. He didn't even get up to greet her. When a woman walks in a room and the man don't even get up to greet you, That's a bad sign. So Kina goes on and she makes her little joke, talking about Fernando, like, you know, Fernando basically has too much junk in the trunk for her. And she says she likes a man like with a flat butt. And, you know, she wants the only one have the flat butt. Then Kina starts talking to Tory and interviewing Tory. And I can already tell she's getting friend zoned. Like I said, all this interviewing, you know who Kina was giving me? She was giving me Tasia vibes straight from the beginning. She was going into interview mode, interviewing men. And like I said, ladies, you're the sellers, you're not the buyers. And Kina totally came in with a whole buyer sort of attitude. And I'm like, oh, she better start selling herself, because there, you know, one thing to Kid, even though I didn't think she should say it out loud to the men, she was correct in that there were a lot of beautiful women there. And it's not that Kina is not a pretty woman, but I think there were more beautiful other women that were a little bit more physically attracted to Kina. So I'm like, you know what, she better start selling herself fast so people could see the inside of her. But no, she was spending her time asking men questions and interviewing them, and they weren't getting to know anything about her. So I already said, you know what, she's gonna end up being in the friend zone. They're not gonna know anything about her, because then they're gonna say, you know what, she's not the most beautiful, and they're not gonna have anything to outweigh the physical. They're not gonna be able to say, I learned a lot about Kina, because all she's doing over here is asking questions and talking about what she doesn't like in men, and she's not the buyer, she's the seller. Bad strategy. Next who walks in is Demetrius, and he turns all the heads of all the lady Precious like, woo, woo. DAKIYA's like, oh my goodness. So everybody loves Demetrius walking in, I guess because he's, you know, tall, dark, and handsome. And we saw his Instagram profile. I'll put that link below. I looked at all people's Instagram. I don't know if he thinks he's a model or not, but he was basically telling the story. He's ex-military, 21 years, just retired. And I guess because he had to wear a uniform for 21 years, he's like, shoot, now that he's retired, he's going to invest in him some suits and some clothing. And he broke them out. He did look sharp, though. So Precious comes on. Precious is starting to remind me a little bit of Courtney from last year. She's kind of like, you know, assertive, real assertive. So she grabs Demetrius by the hand and she's like, come on, follow me. This is what we need to be doing. This is how it's going to look. You following me. Okay, Precious, you definitely assertive. We'll see if they like it. So, you know, Precious starts laying it on thick, talking about how gorgeous Demetrius is and everything, you know, lathering him up with compliments. I haven't seen him give no compliments to her yet. I don't know, this strategy of being assertive, I don't know. I'll see if it plays off for Precious, but, you know, typically it doesn't pay off. Typically men don't like women that are this assertive, but she's pretty assertive. So she goes in and she asks Demetrius, what do you like to do for a living? And he's like, I like outdoor activities. And so immediately she pops to what she likes. Ooh, and she goes, well, he says, well, will you do outdoor activities with me? And she goes, yeah, as long as you do my activities, which is pole dancing. Girl, no man likes to do pole dancing. I know he said he would, but men don't like to do pole dancing. What kind of man would want to do pole dancing? My husband is not going to be on no pole twerking. So next up, we see Sabrina. She comes in, and Sabrina comes in, and I forget what Sabrina does. I don't know. I'll put it up on the screen. Well, Sabrina comes in, and so she starts talking about how, you know, she has a list. So anyway, Sabrina goes ahead and she starts talking to Demetrius, and Sabrina really likes Demetrius too. And so she asks him, what do you do for fun? That must be, I don't know, does everyone have the same question for these men? It's like women are, I mean, all the questions, what do you like to do for fun? What do you like to do for fun? See, all the women are learning things about the man, but what I'm not liking right in this moment is that they're not giving the man knowing things about themselves. And that's why I think why Kina went home, because you also want to make sure that although you're learning about the man, you want to make sure they're learning about you. And so sometimes I hear these questions, I'm like, well, you're not selling yourself enough so they can even know more about yourself. So once again, here's the same old question. What do you like to do about fun? I wish people would come up with better questions to ask, to, you know, as icebreakers, because these really are not creative. What do you like to do for fun? Next up, we see Laverne. Does Laverne look like Married to Medicine Quad's ex-husband, Mr. G? I swear, when I saw him, I know this ain't Greg, Mr. G here on this Ready to Love. But anyway, he comes in, so he's an ex bodybuilder. I'm not for sure what he does now, and I'll put that up too, but he comes on the show, and you know, the girls seem to kind of, you know, respond to him well as well. But he tells his story that, you know what, he's never experienced a woman that has wanted to be with him or wanted to spend their life with him or want to experience things with him. And I thought that was so odd. Are you telling me no girl ever wanted to be your girlfriend? Which we know the answer to that is no. So kind of what I'm actually hearing from him, he's basically saying that he hasn't found the girl that wants to go in the direction he wants to go to. That's what he's saying. He's saying, I haven't found a woman that I want to choose because she isn't going in the direction I want to go. It's not that no girl has ever wanted him, because he's a good looking guy. So I'm quite sure there were women out there who wanted to be his girlfriend or settle down with him. But what he's saying is that woman might not have been going in the direction that he was going in. So therefore he was like, I ain't buying. So anyway, next comes in is Clifton, and everybody's calling him, you know, he's a front runner too. Clifton comes in with his deep voice. And I forget, this other girl, Joy, calls him like some other name. I forget, I have to look that up too. But he comes in, he comes over, he meets DAKIYA and he meets TORY. And DAKIYA pops up out her chair. She like stands up. I'm like, girl, sit down. You ain't got to stand for no man coming in. He ain't President Obama. Sit your butt down and let him reach down and grab your hand or something. But you ain't got to stand up and shake his hand like he's the president of the United States. So Sabrina meets with Demetrius, and she's like, oh, I like that bling. Is that topaz around your neck? And he's like, yeah, how'd you know? She goes, oh, that's my middle name, Topaz. You know what I like about Sabrina is, you know, I'm going to make a couple of other points, is she takes moments to connect herself and bond herself to the guy. So her questions have an intent behind them. So when she says something about, oh, I like your necklace, is that topaz? And he answers, she then finds a connection that bonds her with the guy. As opposed to when Precious said, hey, what do you like to do for fun? And he said, I like outdoors. Precious didn't bond herself with outdoors. She didn't say, oh yeah, I do too. I like to go hiking or something like that. She went to a whole other thing, like pole dancing, which was basically saying, I'm not with you, you're with me. And so if you want to be with me, come over here and pole dance. And what I liked about what Sabrina did was she said, oh, Topaz, that's like me, that's my middle name. So she immediately bonded herself to him. So anyway, Sabrina and Demetrius go inside, they start talking. And so it's just, you know, it's revealed, Demetrius talks about how he was divorced. And he basically, you know, pretty much took a lot of blame for the reason why he's divorced. He was saying he was in the military 21 years, bouncing from women to women. And it sounds like he was cheating on the wife. And just, you know, a lot of military marriages are really hard. So he talked about that. Sabrina revealed that she too was divorced. And I think she used that moment to sort of bond herself to Demetrius. She basically, you know, pointed out what they had in common. And she used that to her advantage, as opposed to in another situation, you'll see how the divorce situation didn't lead to bonding. It actually led to PO, you know, saying some pretty nasty things to one of the ladies, which I'll get into that as well. So Sabrina really used that moment to bond with Demetrius, and Demetrius said, you know what? He felt like he really connected with her, and I kind of saw it as well. They sort of bonded initially over understanding each other's paths so far, that they've kind of been through some similar things, and I think that created an instant connection between them, which is good when you're trying not to get eliminated. So Clifton starts saying he's loud and he's outgoing. He, you know, he likes a woman who's loud, outgoing too. And I started noticing Clifton's teeth on the bottom. I know I'm watching another show, Married at First Sight, and they talk about how bad teeth are a deal killer. So I wonder right now, are people gonna be mad at Clifton's bottom teeth, because his bottom teeth are really crooked. He probably should have got braces when he was younger, but I guess the women don't care. I guess that body and that deep voice is gonna make up for them bad teeth on the bottom. So anyway, Joy's talking to Fernando, and she being shady, talking about, oh, I like your ensemble. Girl, no you don't. You being shady as I don't know what. That was a horrible suit outfit. And it's probably why he ended up going home, because that outfit was horrible. That suit was horrible. So anyway, Fernando starts interviewing Joy, like, what do you do? You know, where do you live? Where do you come from? And Joy is like, is this an interview in a bad suit? So anyway, here goes another blunder by Kina. She's sitting with Wiley, and she's saying, you know, oh, you know, Wiley's only 32. He's like, how old are you? He says 32. And she's like, well, you look 35. Kina, girl, you need to go back to my video of top 10 things don't do. You need a whole new makeover when it comes to your game and dating. It's a horrible game plan. And let me tell you, Kina's outfit looked like lingerie, looked like something that I go to bed in at night to, like, you know, maybe get my husband all hot and heavy. I really look like lingerie. So Wally's like, I don't like her. She's blunt. He was like, I don't know if I like it or not. No, really, I don't like it. Nobody likes it. No one likes it. So next thing you know, Adeline Paul is sitting with Ace. We haven't really seen much of Ace. She's really soft-spoken. She's really into yoga. He's sitting with her. And so he says, oh, well, tell me about yourself. And she says, oh, I'm 37. I'm divorced. Well, another one of my pointers, why do you lead with the negative? If someone says, tell me about yourself, why is the first thing you lead with is talking about you divorced? I mean, can't that come later in the conversation? Talk about your assets, talk about the good things. And sure enough, she led with a negative that she's divorced. And sure enough, a person like Paul hopped on that like a dog on a bone and started chewing on it really hard. You divorced, how long you been married? Oh, I guess you didn't even give it a chance. Girl, by now Ace is so offended. He don't care. He's like a dog on a bone. He was wrong. He was definitely wrong. I don't like him. But then again, I say, you know what, Ace? Why would you lead with something like that? That's not a highlight of your life of being married for 1 year and getting divorced. So if someone gives you an open question like, tell me about yourself, why would you lead with that? It's like you're at a job interview and someone says, tell me about yourself. Well, I walked off my other job. What? Why are you leading with that? So he's like, starts talking about, Paul said, are you intimidated by me? No, I'm not intimidated. I'm offended, actually. You don't intimidate me. You offend me. That's really what was going on. I don't think she was intimidated by him. I think she was offended, and I probably would be too, to take some information. So even though I don't think she should have revealed that information at the top of the list, I still don't think that he handled it well. And I would be like, no, I'm not intimidated, but I am offended and I don't like you. So next they cut to a scene with Precious and Tori sitting on the couch and they're like, oh, I forgot the name of this drink. They go, it's a Romeo and Juliet. And Tori's like, do you like Romeo and Juliet? And Precious like, no, I don't like it because, it's, the whole thing about the family forcing you to choose someone that you wouldn't want to choose or you wouldn't want to do. And they're, they sort of bonded over the story and they didn't like the way it ended. And I've already seen Tory, he likes to go deep. He likes to, go layers below the surface. He doesn't like surfacey conversations. So they end up having like a pretty deep conversation about their mothers. And I don't know, it was a deep conversation for a first conversation, but I guess if they like it, I guess I like it. But it was a pretty deep conversation. And I think he felt at the end that it bonded him to Precious. And I think you're going to see that people want to feel some connection to you. So even if it's something that's not positive but it's a connection, then I think that in the end, it's good. It's just like how Sabrina and Demetrius connected over divorce. Divorce isn't positive, but they bonded over it. But when Paul and Ace were talking about divorce, I guess Paul hasn't been divorced, so it came out to be a negative. But here you have Precious and Tori bonding over the fact that they really didn't have great relationships with their mother, and that bonded each other in that moment in time. And at this point in time, you're just trying to make it to the second round, be honest with you. If it's trauma bonding, it's trauma bonding. You're just trying to make it to the second round. So anyway, they get going the deliberations. Tommy says, let's go into deliberations, lady, to figure out who we're going to eliminate. So a man is getting eliminated first up, and they go into deliberations, of course. Everybody choosing Demetrius. He's definitely on the top of everyone's list, and also Clifton. And in the end, they decide to send Fernando home, which, to be honest with you, I think was the bad suit, because between who was actually had, to me, the most worst personality, it was really Paul, P.O. Paul. Okay, because and it wasn't Fernando. I think in the end, the only reason that Paul got to stay is because he was tall and he at least was talking or something or another, because Fernando, that bad suit, let me tell you, that was a turnoff for a lot of women, and women just couldn't get past it. So next we see a scene with Joy and Clifton. They seem to have like this organic relationship. Joy is really feeling Clifton, and Clifton basically said he's got interest in Joy, so he comes right out and says it, which I think is cool. And Joy actually appreciated that. She was talking about how all the other guys, she's got like drag things out of them, but Clifton, she didn't have to do that. So I think she's kind of enjoying that. And like I said, I don't think Joy is comfortable with the part of selling herself. I think she's more comfortable with being able to interview be more on the offense and interviewing the other guy. But I actually say you need to have both skill sets. You need to have defense and you need to have offense. You need to know how to interview the guy, but you also need to know how to sell yourself. And I think Joy, the reason why she was rubbed wrong with Fernando so badly is because she didn't like getting questions. She more prefers asking the questions. But they had a cute little back and forth, a lot of flirting going on. I think they made a good connection. And even Clifton was like, well, when you make a connection so strong, it makes you not even want to talk to anyone else. So next you see Tory talking to Tiffany, and here goes serious Tory. He's going back into serious questions. So he's asking Tiffany about kids. She says she has 2 kids, and he starts saying, well, would your kids accept another man or another father or something like that? Tory be digging in. He goes deep fast. So I don't know. Everybody may not like that strategy, but he definitely goes in deep fast. So he's trying to go so deep so fast. I think it's kind of catching Tiffany off guard, and she doesn't have any answers for it. And so I think, you know, he starts to think that she's shutting down. But what I think it really is she's just not used to it. A lot of women are so used to going out on dates and asking all the questions that when they get in a situation where now men are asking them questions, the men are interviewing them, they're tie-tongued. That's why I tell women need to have elevator pitches, because right now a lot of women only got a one-sided game. They know how to ask questions as if they are the buyers. They do not know how to respond and sell themselves. Women need to balance out their game plan. And I can see right now, Tiffany does not have a balanced game plan. She's comfortable asking, but she's not comfortable answering questions. So next you see a scene with Sabrina talking to Laverne. Laverne has created like this little Laverne den. I call him Mr. G. He looked like Mr. G. Laverne dear. He and Sabrina are talking. He's saying he's from Gary, Indiana. She's like, what is Gary, Indiana? She didn't know the Jacksons was from Gary, Indiana. I don't know. Maybe she's too young to know. But he was like, you don't know that? I thought everybody knew that the Jacksons was from Gary, Indiana. But he definitely told her. So they had a little moment there, sitting in the corner, and, you know, talked and bonded a little bit. Then here comes Precious, assertive Precious. She comes, oh, can I get here? One thing Precious is going to do, she's going to be asserting herself. Precious is definitely assertive. I'm really going to be interested to see how that plays out in the long run. So she comes over, she kind of bogarts. So Laverne tells Precious he was a bodybuilder. So right there go Precious. Oh, good, because I want to be in the bikini. With Precious, the thing about Precious is she doesn't bounce off of conversation. She starts a whole new conversation. It's almost like a person when you tell them, hey, I just bought this blue dress. She doesn't say, oh, you know, where'd you get the blue dress from or whatever. Instead, she starts another conversation. So when he said that she was a bodybuilder, she went straight to, oh, can you rub some oil on me? Can you get me bikini ready? Da-da-da-da-da-da. It's kind of weird. And what she said was, you know, she knows that she's aggressive, but a lot of men are intimidated by her. See, this is the same thing that I think Courtney did last year. She's misinterpreting what is turning men off. She thinks men are intimidated by her. They're not intimidated by you, Precious. They actually just don't like it. I think, so now she's actually revealing that this probably has been a problem with her in the past. And she keeps thinking that she needs to find someone that's not intimidated by her sort of assertiveness. But really what it is, it's a turnoff to a lot of guys. But who knows, Vern might like it because he says he likes an alpha female. But you know what? We don't know what his definition of alpha is. We're going to have to figure that out, because sometimes people use terminology and you think you understand them, but the next thing you know, their definition is different than your definition. So then you see another scene where Clifton and DAKIYA are sitting on the chairs talking, and Clifton said that, you know, when he first walked in, that DAKIYA with them high cheekbones caught his attention, so he was happy to get a chance to talk to her. And so they're talking, they're bonding over, like, you know, Clifton's asking her questions about, like, where could she see herself in 5 years. See, here's the thing. You know, Joy was talking about how Fernando was interviewing her, but a lot of these guys are asking interview questions. Joy just didn't like the way that Fernando asked the questions. But, you know, Clifton's over here sizing up to DAKIYA, because what he's saying is, does this woman fit into my future? So he's saying, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And so they actually bonded over this idea that I could see myself on the beach. DAKIYA had the right answer. I can see myself on the beach, on the water. He's like, oh, yeah, me too. Island hopping. And then next thing you know, here comes Kina